Today I will present to you the first part of the life stories of leaders. The great leader Fatih Sultan Mehmet Han, which we will talk about in the first part. Fatih Sultan Mehmet's
father, the second Mehmet, mother is Huma Hatun.
I received a very good education, learned Arabic, French and Greek. He showed great interest in literature, religion and history in his youth.
His father is Murat II. He paid great attention to his son's education.
Molla Gharani, he left deep plants on Fatih. Thanks to these teachers, Fatih had the opportunity to get to know many famous teachers and knowledge outside his country. He was appointed governor of Amasya when he was only 6 years old. In 1443, the governor was appointed to Manisa. When his elder brother Alaaddin died in 1444, he remained the sole heir of the Ottoman Empire. Murat II, who signed a peace agreement with Karamanogallari, announced in front of all Kapakulu and Pashas in August 1444 that he left Tartoglu Mehmet on the Mahalik plain and would go to Manisa to rest. Fatih, who ascended the Ottoman throne at the age of 12 as soon as Sultan Mehmet came to Edirne, he met the hungry lovers of European Christian states who signed an agreement with his father. The Pope mobilized the Christians for a new expedition. Grand Vizier stopped Kandali Halil Pasha's campaign of conquest. Kinkilar flocked because of his peaceful policy. For this reason, some places captured in Anatolia and Rumelia were given back to the old state. It is also possible for a prince at a young age to become a sultan. Because it was strange, uprisings and revolts arose from all sides. The hungry people started to advance on the Marmara after they opened the Danube on the 18th and 22 September. The Fish Navy also held the Dardanelles. The second Murat, who was in Manisa, was called to the head of the army. The Ottoman army, which passed through the Bosphorus with Genoese boats, won a great victory in Varna on November 10, 1444. After the war, Murat II withdrew to Manisa again. However, some events it required Murat II to come to Edirne again and Sultan Mehmet to go to Manisa. Mehmet fought on the right in the Second Kosovo War. He married Sidi Hatun, daughter of Dulkadiralu Suleiman Bey, in 1450. Shortly after returning to Manisa with his wife, upon the death of his father, he returned to Edirne and ascended the Ottoman throne for the second time on February 18, 1450. In the first phase of his sultanate, he followed a conciliatory attitude. Thus, he connected the foreign policy of the state to peace. Bogazkesen, that is, Rumeli fortress, was completed in as little as 4 months. He embarked on intense military preparations in Edirne. He set out for Istanbul in the spring of 1453. And began to besiege the city. This is how the conquest of Istanbul began. Fatih Sultan Mehmet. From the conquest he went to establish a centralized administration by having the Grand Vizier Kandali Halil Pasha executed. Fatih embarked on a series of campaigns in the east and west. His first expedition was over Serbia. Fatih, who made his first expedition from 4,400 TL, marched on Smendere and Sivriazar. Although Sivris Hisar was surrendered, it could not be taken to Smendere as a result of Hungarian aid. In 455 he went on a second expedition to Serbia.
This time, Bent's castle was taken and he passed through Kosovo and returned to Edirne. A year later, Belgrade was besieged, but not captured. A few years later, the Sultan, who came out of the Maria campaign, commissioned Mehmed Pasha with the conquest of Serbia. Mehmed Pasha captured some castles around Semenderi. Sivrisehiza was captured again. Meanwhile, an incursion into Hungarian lands was also organized. Serbian king who failed to defend Samothrace. When the treasures were taken and gone, Serbia was completely subordinated to the Ottoman Empire. Akinci Bahai Torhanolu, Omar Bey, had conquered here long ago. With the arrival of Fatih, his morale was conquered. After passing Korent, the Sultan, who entered the purple, captured many fortified castles. He was eventually forced to surrender by signing peace with Moradespot. NS in the Aegean Sea. The islands of Imroz, Semendirek and Tasos were also captured. He connected Gallipoli to Sankil in Hamza Bay, and between Elimli and Midilli to the Ottoman Empire. Fatih Sultan Mehmet organized 3 expeditions to Hamasra, Sinop, and Trabzon. He took Hamasra castle from the Genoese hands in 1460s. He captured Kastamonu in 1461. Sinop castle was handed over to the Ottomans.
Fatih set out on an expedition to Trabzon in the same year. Trabzon was captured on October 26, 1461. Thus, the Greek Empire of Trabzon became history. Fatih went on an expedition in 462. Thus, the Greek Empire of Trabzon became history, and Fatih went on an expedition in 462. Although the Wallachian voivode escaped and saved his life in the war in the schools of the brochure, his country was completely plundered. His brother Adol Voivoda was appointed in his place. This man is Prince Peter Aron. Although he accepted the Ottoman rule in 1455, Stefan Çelçilmer, who took his place, chose to make agreements with the European Christian states. Fatih, Beylerbey, Hatem Süleyman Pasha with a strong army sent over this area. After the defeat of Süleyman Bey, the Sultan himself went on the Moldavian campaign at Six. The Ottoman army, which stayed in this room for 2 months, returned after taking many booty. He continued the military operation in Bosnia and Herzegovina as well, entered Bosnia via Skopje. In fact, Fatih besieged his castle, Mehmed Pasha. He surrendered to the truth, and in Kilik, the king accepted Ottoman supremacy and surrendered. The fact that some ports on the coast of the Adriatic Sea were also in the hands of the Ottomans worried the Venetian state. After Fatih had resolved the Bosnia issue, the king of Herzegovina Stefan marched on for Kosovo. Every year, Kulak was connected to the Ottoman Empire.
Every year, Kulak became a part of the Ottoman Empire. Conqueror went on an expedition to Bosnia again after some events. With the Bosnians' conversion to Islam, the Ottoman dominance here was blinded. An Ottoman army sent under the command of Gedik Ahmet Pasha was supported by land. Crimea was captured. Thus, the commercial activities of the Genoese in the Black Sea completely ended. Ottoman sovereignty in the region stretching from the mouth of the Danube to the Caucasus and Circassia was finalized. It was the Karaman-Lolu Principality and the White Sheep who saw Fatih more. Fatih Karaman went on 1,466 expeditions to invade his country. If Karaman tied it to the whole state of his country, it would be more. In 1470s, the Ottoman army re-entered the land of Karaman, when there was no complete order in the country. The next day, he went on an expedition to Karaman district. After besieging Alia, he marched on Silifke. He also took over this castle in 71. After winning a grassy war against Fatih Uzuniasan in 1473, Gedik Ahmet Pasha captured Silifke Castle for the second time in 1474. In 1475, the Sultan was appointed as the governor of Karaman. He especially dealt with the Venetians in the naval area of Fatih, because it had dealt a great blow to the eastern trade of Venice. The war between them lasted for a long time, like 16 years. 1475. A 2-year armistice was signed. But it was not done. However, the Ottoman-Venice peace treaty was signed in 1479. Accordingly, the Venetians were to have an ambassador in Istanbul. He will give back the places they took from the Ottomans. In return, they will protect the rights of Venetian nationality. They would be free and able to trade. They would never attack each other. Jumping. It was this way. The Italian expedition undertaken by Fatih shortly before his death. It was showing his political prowess. In the summer of 1480, Gedik Ahmet Pasha captured this city shortly after he went to Oportona with an Ottoman fleet. Italy captured many forts from which they were advancing into them. However, the death of Fatih and the recall of Gedik Ahmet Pasha in Beyazıt marked the end of the Italian campaign. The Ottoman navy could not capture the Rhodes castle during the campaign of Fatih on the southwestern part of the city. The second time did not yield any results. In 1479, the castle of Rhodes was besieged by a stronger navy. However, Messiah Pasha's refusal to give the army any freedom to prevent pillage led to the failure of the siege. Fatih Sultan Mehmet passed away on May 4, 1481, while he was near Gebze in the campaign targeting the Mamluk state. He was 51. His death was not revealed and he was with Seyzade Bayezd in Amasya. A messenger was sent to Cem Sultan in Konya at the same time. For 11 days his death was hidden from the soldier. He was buried in his tomb in the courtyard of the mosque he had built in Istanbul. Fatih, who was a Sahanja Sultan, had a superior personality. Being the creator of an event that closed an era and opened an era was the main feature of his personality. He was a very intelligent, brave, assertive, and knowledgeable person. He paid close attention to scholars, gave importance, and protected his environment. He read a lot and wrote a good poem, beautiful enough to be one of the most famous poets of the period. He wrote poems under the pen name Avni. He also showed a close interest in Greek and Roman civilizations. Despite all the bigotry of his time, he did not hesitate to get his painting done by the Italian painter Bellini. He communicated with my knowledge and artists in other countries. He brought most of them to Istanbul. He showed how much importance he attached to education by having the 8-section Sahara Simav Madrasa and Hagia Sophia madrasas built next to the famous mosque he had built. In his time, the sciences also made great progress. Turkify Istanbul. He made great efforts to become Turkic and gain a Muslim face. He brought the population from Anatolia and enabled the formation of many neighborhoods. He also adorned himself with many sexual and civic structures. Fatih Mosque and Complex, Ayap Mosque and Complex. This cook, who had 8 churches converted from a church to a mosque, the Old Palace and the Rumeli Fortress, is among his works. Of course, Hagia Sophia, 1 operation, 84 mosques and masjids, with 2 barracks, 2 castles, 3 covered bazaars and a bazaar. About 5,000 shops reveal the country's developments in the field of public works. Fatih set out on a new expedition towards Anatolia in 1481. But he fell ill at the beginning of the road, and on May 3, 1481, near Gebze. They are in the meadow. I died in the army. Although it is thought that he died from leg disease, it is also rumored that he was poisoned. After Fatih's death, the death was hidden. It is said that the Sultan needs a bath, and he secretly makes it without a funeral. Here is Fatih's life as a leader, the achievements of the Ottoman Empire at that time, the closure of the age, the gift of Istanbul to us, the praise of the Prophet, and many more. May Allah's mercy be upon Fatih and all our great leaders. Let's not forget to subscribe. Best regards.